Okay, so in today's DBMS class, we are going to study about the topic of three schema architecture, that is three level schema architecture of DBMS, that is your database, and the entity relationship model, which we have studied in previous classes also, entity relationship diagram. Now, entity relationship model, we will be studying about that one, right? So, basically what was the schema? But I have already told you in previous class, schema was the whole description or the whole design of your database, that is the blueprint of your database, what thing you are going to create in the database, which different things you are going to include in your database. So basically the whole blueprint of your database. Now why we are using this schema? So that we can show or we can define whosoever is going to use the database, he can get the whole idea of the database, what kind of database I am designing. So what thing are included in my database, that is the whole thing which is shown in the schema. Okay, the whole designing of your particular database which you are going to create, this will give the idea of what things are included in the database. Now what is a schema? Okay, so schema is the overall design of the database. It's called the database schema. Overall design, what things you are going to include, as well as the designing, what thing, how you are going to create the database. Okay, so on the creating, when you are going to create the database, so you have some variables, you have some data types, you are going to define each and every attribute. So these things are the designing, whole designing of your particular database, right? Now a database schema corresponds to the variable declarations along with associated type definition in a program. The variable declarations, which kind of variable you are going to declare in your table. You write that create table name, right? So after that int, this one name, what kind of you are going to give the data types, that and the range. So this is the basically the concept, or this is the syntax how we are going to write. Again then you are going to write some other things also, roll number, each and everything. So there what we are giving, we are giving some variable names, so we are declaring some variable names, as well as we are giving the type definition, that is the data type, which kind of data type we are using, the range up to what kind of, suppose the name should be up to 30 alphabets, 30 letters, so you are going to write that also. So this is the basically the whole syntax of how we are going to create the table, how we are going to design our database. So schema is basically what things you are going to include in your database, that is the schema, the variable names, the type definition, these all things, they are just corresponding to these things, right? So a database schema corresponds to the variable declarations along with associated type definitions in a particular program, right? Now each variable has a particular value at a given instant. Each and every variable what we are using there, they have a particular value at a particular instant, right? So at a particular instant means what? At a particular time, at this instant when I am working on that particular database. So at this instant, what is the value of a particular variable? Maybe like when I am going to write about someone's employee's salary. So at this particular instant, his salary is 15,000. Then maybe after some time it can increase or it can decrease. But at this particular instant when I am working on the particular database, at that time the employee salary will be 15,000. So at this instance, this is known as instance of the schema, that is at this particular instant of time, what is the value of your current variable which you are working on. Now you are working on some variable, so what is the value at this time? This is the instant, that is known as instant of the schema. The values of the variable in the program at a point in time correspond to an instance of a database schema, that is known as database schema, that is instance of database schema, right? The particular value of a variable at a particular instant of time. So basically this is what is the schema. Now when we are talking about the schema, when you are talking about the designing of anything, obviously at that time there will be a user and there will be a particular database. Now when the user is going to search in the database or he is going to fetch something from the database, obviously there is a schema in between the user and the database. Now this particular schema to make the difference between these, to just differentiate between the user and your database, some particular levels have been decided, levels have been made. These levels are called the 3-level, that is your schema architecture, architecture of your schema of the database. So these levels have been divided into 3 levels. Here you can see the particular diagram. This one is the end user, external view, conceptual schema, internal schema, and your stored database. So this is the particular, basically the whole thing. You can see here is the end user and here is the stored database. What is the stored database? The stored database is having all the data or the collection of data which are, they are logically related, but those data which you want, that you are fetching from the database, particular database, right? So when you're fetching from a particular database, so that things, whatever data you want, that particular data is stored in your stored database, and you are the end user who is working on that particular database, right? So in between you and your database, there are 3 levels. First one is the external level, then the conceptual and the internal level. These are the 3 basically basic levels. Okay, now what is happening in between these 3 levels, that is the main point here. Let's see one by one. First is the, what is the goal of this three level schema, why we are using this 3-level architecture. The goal of three schema architecture is to separate the user application and physical database, that is this one. User application means when you are doing something, you are applying something. So this is the user application which you are using, and your physical database, that is your particular stored database which is there. So what is the, to differentiate between these 2 particular things, we are using this 3-level architecture. Okay, schema architecture. In this architecture, schema can be defined at the following 3 levels. 3 levels, that is your, these 3 levels. Now first level is the internal schema, or at an internal level, which is nearest to your database. First level, which will be near, when you are going to fetch, first of all the nearest level, that is your internal level. What is that? It has an internal schema which describes the physical storage structure of your database. This is the physical storage structure of your database. How your database had been made, or what is the blueprint of your database. So physical storage of your database. How is the physical storage? So internal level, when you are talking about the internal level, we are having an internal schema. Now what is the internal schema? Schema means again the blueprint, the designing. Now internal designing of your database, very easy. Internal level, internal designing of my database. What we know from an internal design, always we know that internal design means the physical design, that is the physical storage structure of my database. So the internal level, when you are talking about the internal level, it is showing the internal, that is the physical stored, however the physical storage device, whatever we have stored in there. So the physical structure of the database is being shown there in the internal schema. So this is what we are going to get, the physical storage structure. What is my physical storage structure of the schema? So internal level, we are getting the internal details of the schema, right? So here the only how the storage section have been structured, that thing you are getting, nothing else. Now, so this is the internal designing what you are getting. Okay. Now next is your conceptual level, that is this level. Now you can see one thing, that between this each and every level, here is a mapping done. In between internal and conceptual schema, a mapping has been done. This to this, this to this. You can see the arrow. Now afterwards, external level and your schema, that here also a mapping had been done. So this mapping is done between these 2 levels. This is what is there in your 3-level architecture. Again, that conceptual level, what it has a conceptual schema. When we are talking about the conceptual level, obviously the conceptual designing of your database is being taken, that is the conceptual schema, conceptual designing of your database. What is the concept behind your database? Internal design, internal, what is there, the internal structure of your database. Now conceptual, what is the concept of your database, why you have created the database, concept of your database. Okay, so conceptual schema, it describes the entities, what are the different entities, that is the real life or the related to objects. So real objects, so these are the entities, what kind of entities you have used in that particular database, right? Again, the data type, as I have already told you about what kind of like varchar or your integer, what kind for age you have used integer, for your name you have used varchar. So this kind of things have been used. So your data type is very important. What kind of data type you have used, that thing is described in this particular conceptual level. Okay, then relationships, what is the relationship between each and every entity, that thing also you have to show. Like you have a student entity and you have a teacher entity, obviously in between them a teaching relationship is there, so you have to see that particular relationship. That is also your concept of the database, that also comes under the conceptual schema, that is your conceptual level, right? Now next is user operations. What kind of operations the user can do on the database? As I have already told you, whether he can just delete anything, whether he can add insert anything, whether he can update anything. So how the user is going to operate the database, user operations are also given in this conceptual level. Okay, and the constraints, what kind of constraints have been fixed in your database. So these are basically, you can see from here that the basic things, the conceptual things which are being decided on the database or which are related to your database, that are present here in your conceptual level. So in this conceptual level, when you're first of all you are going to get the internal design, then you are going for the conceptual level. In the conceptual level, the conceptual schema, the conceptual designing of your database is coming in front of you, where you are going to see that what are my entities, what are my designing concepts, how we are going to design, that is the different data types what I have used, what are the relationship between different entities, the users, how they are going to operate, what kind of user operations are there, and the constraints, what kind of constraints are fixed on your database, particular database, right? So these are the basic concepts of your database, which is coming under this conceptual schema, conceptual design of your database. Now the third one, that is your external view, external or view level, that is the last one. This is the external level or the view level. It is also called external or the view level. Now it includes a number of external schemas, that is number of external schemas, not one a number of external schemas. External schema means the what? The external designing of your database. Then now, or user views. Now when we are creating a view, a particular section or a particular part of your database is coming in front of you, not the whole database. The view means, we will study in later classes also, that view means what? When I am going to get a particular view, what we call, we are going to get a view of this thing. View of this thing means the whole thing. No, we are talking about a particular section, a particular part of my database. So basically it have number of external schemas or number of user views. Number of user views means it can be many in numbers, not only one, it can be many in numbers, right? And it describes the part of the database that a particular user group is interested in. As I have told you, that whenever you are, suppose you are a particular teacher, right? So for particular subject, now what you need, a whole database is in front of you. The student name is there, the student roll numbers are there, and each and every subject what he had got, 5 subjects are there. Suppose your networking is there, DBMS is there, so each and every subject marks is given there, and the aggregate is given there, the what he had got in aggregate. What you need, you are the teacher of your particular subject like DBMS. So what you need is the number of the roll number, the name, and the marks obtained by the student in your DBMS subject, which you have to submit to your office, right? So what you will do, you are interested in the particular view, you are not interested in the whole database, what the student had achieved or what he had got in the different other subjects, C or your networking. That is not important for you. What is important for you? What you are interested in? You are interested in the number, the name of the roll number, name of the student, and what marks he have got in my subject, that is DBMS, not in the other subjects, right? That is I am interested in. So what I will do, I will see only that portion of the database. Other portions I am not interested. I am interested in 3 things: the roll number, the name, and the marks of the student received or got in my particular DBMS subject. So this is what is I am interested in. So this is the section which is my particular section. So this is called a particular view, right? Like let's see in an example how we are going to see this view. View is a very important portion of your database DBMS, right? So what is going to be in a view like this, we can understand this one, right? Like this is the roll number, this is the name of the student, subject of the student. Suppose first is your networking, right? Marks in networking, marks in DBMS, and etc subjects. So I am interested in this one, my roll number, name, and DBMS subjects marks. So this is the whole database. Whatever things the student have got, this is the whole database, right? But when I am interested in a particular section of my database, that is the roll number, name, and DBMS. Obviously a particular section will be like this, and here the other details are there. I am not interested in this part, I am interested in this part only. This is my subject. So this is my view, this is the user view which I am interested in. So this is called a user view, right? Now you can understand how we are going to get the view. So here what is happening, the external it describes the part of the database. This is the part of the database. It is a part of the database, but I am separating that one. Part of the database that a particular user group is interested in, and hides the rest of the database from that user group. And it is hiding this, but I am needing this one, right? I need this one. So I will get only this one. The database, what it will do, it will hide this thing. External view will hide these all details. Suppose it's networking, C++, other subjects are there. So it is just giving me the view of that thing which I am interested in, particular user group is interested in, and it will do what? It will hide other details. So this is what is happening in the external level or your view level. View level is giving you the schema, that is external schema. Only it's not giving you the internal details, it is giving you external details, that is the external schema. That is mean it is giving me a particular view. It is just separating whatever thing I need. That is called your view. View level will give the view which you need, the user need. Other things it will just hide. This is the importance of your 3-level architecture, that is 3-schema architecture. This is known as the 3-schema architecture. In this 3-schema architecture, you can see each and every level is very important. First level is giving you the internal details of your database. What is the physical storage structure? That is the internal, very internal details of your particular database. That is your internal schema, internal designing of your database. Second is giving you the conceptual schema. What are the databases used, or data types used, what are the variables used, how are the variable declaration have been done, the relationships, user operations, constraints. These all things are present when you are talking about the conceptual level. And in the third level, external level, what I am getting at that time, I will get a particular view of the database, a particular part of the database where I am going to get those details which I am interested in, and it will hide the other details from me. So it will be when you are going to search for your particular student's marks in a particular subject, you are just going to type that from this view, select this particular details, that is your view. View name, you can give a particular view name, and it will show you that these particular things are there in your particular view, and it is hiding the other details which is not in, you are not interested in. Obviously it is making your work very easy to find out. When you are fetching the details, you are getting a huge database, but when you are creating a view, obviously the database particular view which you are getting, the part of the database which you are interested in, that means it is making your work very easy. So it is a very important part of your 3-schema architecture, is a very important part of your database. It comes in each and every examination. It's a very important topic also. So you have to see this particular drawing and you have to know that how the things are going on. It's not so much complicated. You can easily see this one. You can see that in a book also, any book you can, you have the Korth book, you can get it in any book. So you can easily get that particular diagram, how the things are going on, and you can write by your own if you understand this nicely. So each and every level had their work depending on the, it's a very easy thing, trick, that the each and every level name is just giving you the details of what is there in the particular level. So it is very easy to understand and you can write very nicely, right? So it is the three schema architecture of your DBMS. Very important topic. It's a very important topic. Okay. Now, next is our ERM, that is entity relationship model. Entity, your real life objects and relationship between those, and the whole model is called entity relationship model, right? We are getting the entity relationship diagram from this entity relationship model. So this is what there in the entity relationship model. Okay, so entity relationship model is the ER data model. This is called ER data model. Now ER data model was developed to facilitate okay, the database designed by allowing specification of an enterprise schema that represents the overall logical structure of a database. Now overall logical structure, why we are talking about the overall logical structure? When you are getting the entities, name of the entities, and you are getting the relationship between them, so it is giving you the facility to get the whole designing, that is design whole database design by allowing specification of an enterprise schema that represents the overall logical designing. Overall logical designing you can easily get when you are talking about the ER data model, that is your entity relationship data model. What is the whole designing, that is what are the entities included, and each and every entity how they are having some relationship between each other. This will show you the whole designing of your database, right? Now next, from here we can see that it is very useful in mapping the meanings and interactions of real world enterprises. What are real world enterprises? When we are talking about real world enterprises are that thing, that is the, we are talking about the entities. So these are real world enterprises, that are the real world things. Okay, so real world enterprises, it is very useful in mapping the meanings and interactions, that is your relationship of real world enterprises onto a conceptual schema. What is that? Conceptual schema means interactions, constraints, user operations. This we have seen in the conceptual schema. Now we are working on that conceptual schema. Basically ERD is going to be the part of your conceptual schema. Since in the conceptual schema only we have seen how the entities are there, how the relationships have been described, and the different constraints, the different data types. So these are coming under the conceptual schema. So basically it is going to map those things with the conceptual schema. Okay, it implies three basic concepts. First is the entity set. We are talking about entities. Entities means real life objects, that is your teacher, student, employee, etc, etc. Now these are entity sets. Entity sets means what? When same kind of entities we are taking together, that are our entity set. We will see last how we are going to show that entity set. Okay, now relationship set, again relationship set, that is we are not talking about a single relationship, we are going to talk about the relationship set, many relationships of the same kind. Here when we are going to group a particular group of entities, when you are taking a collection of entities of the same type, that is your entity set. Again relationship set means same thing, relationship, same kind of relationship when you are talking about, that is your relationship set. And attributes, what are attributes? Attributes are the properties of your particular entity. When we are talking about attributes, mean the properties of your particular entity, right? Suppose here if I am writing this particular student, right? Now a student is there and your teacher is there. So these are my entities, right? Now when I am talking about the relationship, there are also relationship one to one, one to many. These are also there. I will show you in your next class that how the relationship also have some types. One to one relationship, one to many relationship, in between different there are many kinds of relationships. So that is also other thing. But till now what we have studied, that is the one to one relationship, that is teacher to student. Here the teach relationship is there, teaching relationship is there, right? So from whom to whom you can easily understand. Now these are the entities and this is your relationship. Then Now, so this is the symbol which is showing the entities. Whenever you are going to show any entity, you have to show by this symbol only, entity symbol, right? This is the entity, okay. And this is the symbol of relationship. This one, this is the symbol of relationship. Any relationship, whenever you are going to describe any relationship, this particular symbol will be done, okay. You can describe by this particular symbol only, no other symbols. And third thing is your attribute, which you have seen here, the attributes. Attributes, how you are going to show? By this symbol. This symbol shows the attribute, okay. How many attributes? One particular entity can have any number of attributes. So what are the attributes? Student is having attributes. What kind of attributes? It can have the roll number, it can have the name, it can have the phone number, it can have the address, it can have an email ID. So you can see there are so many kinds of attributes. What are attributes? Properties of a particular entity. When we are talking about attributes, we are talking about the properties. These are the properties. You cannot write here the marks. You have to write the properties of your particular entity. So here the address is his property. Here the his name, his roll number. So these are the different things which is describing your entity. These are the different things which is describing in this case. But in case of teacher, also the teacher is also having some employee ID, right? Some name. Again, he is having some address, some email phone number, some email ID. So you can see that there can be a number of attributes, right? Any number of attributes of a particular entity. So when we are describing about the ERD model, we are describing about the different entities, the relationship between each and every entity, what is the relation, how they are related, and what thing, other thing is the attributes, how the attributes of those particular entities are being described. So you can make it more things you can describe here. You can give here a book. Also book will have some author name, something. So teacher will read the book, student will also read the book. They have the relationship of reading with the book. So again, if book is again an entity, if you can write here again a book entity, that is your book. So there also it will have a author name, a book number will be there, right? So again here when you will describe the relationship, it will be reading, okay. Again from here teacher can also read. So again here read. So like this, whenever other entities you are adding in your ERD diagram, you will have some relationship between. You have to see that you are having some relationship between each and every entity. What is the relationship? And the properties of those entities are called your attributes. Done? Clear? Now let's see what are the entity sets. Entity set means when we are talking about single entity, this is my entity. Now what is entity set? So an entity is a thing or object in the real world. Student is the object in the real world, teacher is the object in the real world, book is the object in the real world. Again, you can have the employee in a particular institution or an office. You can have the employee. You can have any different kinds of things which can be from the real world objects, okay. You can have some imaginary things. These are the real world objects which we use in the real world or which are present in the real world. That is our entity. Now that is distinguishable from all other objects. It should be distinguishable from all other objects. When student, you are talking about a group of students. When your student is taking, then student is distinguishable from other objects. Student is that person who is going to get the education. So he is a student. Teacher, when he is going to teach, so he is distinguishable from the other objects in the real world. You are going to talk about a book which is going to read by each and every person in the real world. So obviously it is having its own identity. So each and everything which have its own identity, which makes us distinguishable from the other things in the world, other objects, other real life objects or real world objects. So this is what is your entity. Done? Now it also, for example, each person in a university is an entity. Each person in a particular university, when I am talking about each and every person, he can be a student, he can be a teacher, he can be your principal, he can be your staff of the office, any person. So each and every person in the university is distinguishable, that is, these persons are from so and so ABC University. So these people from the ABC University, they are a particular entity, right? Each and every person. Now it also contains unique set of properties. Each and every person is having that. They have some unique set of properties. They have some unique set of properties. Again, this is having some unique set of properties, which is making them distinguishable from others. So some unique set of properties are there. Maybe some properties are there which is same, but some properties are there which are unique set of properties. Okay. Now it also contains an entity. This is what is called an entity. Only description about an entity. It's a real world object, and it is distinguishable from other objects, real world objects, as well as it has some unique set of properties which will make it distinguishable. Now what is if you are going to talk about a particular student and an employee and a teacher, so some unique sets is phone number, email ID, address. These are the same thing, but unique set of properties are what? The roll number of the student and the employee ID of the teacher or the staff member. This is what is the set of unique set of properties are there, right? There can be some marks also, and for them their salary. So these are the unique set of properties which are making them distinguishable from each other, right? Now an entity set is a set of entities of the same type that share the same properties or attributes. Entity set where a set of entities, there will be a set of entities of the same type. They should be of the same type, right? Like a student, we are taking the entity as a student, but they can be a IT student or he can be a CSE student, right? So they are same type, they are of the same type, they are student type, they are student, but they are having that entity set of entities of the same type. They are student entity, same type, but that share the same properties or attributes, right? Now example, the set of all people who are instructors at a given university can be taken as an entity set instructor. All the instructors means, suppose all the teachers of a particular university, they are all from the same entity. Maybe say they are going to teach you DBMS, they are going to teach you networking, they are going to teach you C, they are going to teach you data structure. So each and every instructor is giving you they are teaching you different subjects, but they are an entity set, because when we are talking about an instructor, that is a entity set where all kinds of instructors are coming, because they are same kind of entities. They are not different kinds. Each and every one is instructing you. So basically the properties, the different attributes of these instructors are same. They are having the same set of properties, right? So again see, an entity set is a set of entities of the same type, right? Same type, same kind of entities. Here teachers, suppose any person who is teaching you DBMS, your DBMS teacher, okay, or your C teacher, each and everyone. But when we are talking about a particular subject teacher, so this is a particular entity set, that is your teacher who is teaching you. Why? Since they are of same type, they are teaching you, they are of same type, that share the same properties or attributes, right? So they are having the same properties or attributes. Maybe the subjects are different, but the same properties. They are having a employee ID, they are having some address, some phone number, each and everything are same. So they are having the same set of properties or attributes, and they are of the same kind. So this is the whole thing is known as entity set. So here we have given the example, the set of all people who are instructors at a given university can be taken as entity set instructor. Same thing, teacher you can also take, whether instructor or teacher. So say they are just instructing or they are teaching, but maybe their subjects are different, but they are taken as a group entity, that is my instructor. Then so this is what there is in the entity set. Then now relationship set. Now we are talking about a relationship set. It is the entity set. Now the relationships. A relationship is the association among several entities. Same thing, the relationship is the interaction or association between each and every entities. Done. Now, for example, we can define a relationship advisor that associates instructor with student Z. Okay, so here we are talking about a relationship of advisor that is associates instructor A. Here a instructor A is there, he is an instructor, right? So he is an attribute, your instructor A, who is related with a student Z. Z is a student, so he can instruct since he is an instructor. So this is the association between this one. So with the student, the instructor, he is associated. The relationship is what he is instructing. So this is what is the relationship between A and Z. That now a relationship set is a set of relationships of the same type. Again, same type of relationship, same type of entities. Now we are talking about same type of relationship. How? Formally, it is mathematically relation on n is greater than equals to 2, right? Possibly non-distinct. And entity set, if E1, E2, En are the entity set, here we can show like this. If E1, E2 and up to En is your entity set, this is your entity set, means each and every entity have the same kinds of attributes and each and every entity have the same properties, or these are of same type, right? Now, then relationship set R is a subset of where this is E1, E2 and your En. This will be related like this. E1 is related to E1, your E2 will be subset of this one and En will be subset of En. This is what is there. So now this thing, these are the entities and this is the relationship. E1, E2, these are the relationship. E1, E2 up to En, these are the relationship, right? So you can see here each and every relationship is the subset of the entity set. So this is my entity set. Each and every relation is the subset of the particular entity set. Suppose E1 is the subset of entity set E1. Again, E2 is the subset of entity set E2. So here you can see each and every relationship. So this particular thing is making the relationship set. When E1, E2, En, these are the relationships which are the subset of your entity set. That means these particular are the relationship set. This is the mathematical form how we describe this relationship set. Then, so you have to see this formation, that is E1, E2, these are the particular entity sets, okay? These are the entity sets and this one are your relationship set. In such a way, you have to make that your each and every relationship is a subset of your entity set, right? So this is the mathematical formation. Each and every relation is the subset of your entity. This is the thing how we are going to describe a particular relationship set. So you have your entity set, you have your relationship set, same kind of relationship. Each and every teacher, each and every student, they are having the same kind of relationship, the teaching relationship. So relationship for one student and one teacher is your relationship. Done. When you are talking about a relationship set, that means the whole group of students and whole group of teacher. When you are taking each and every student and each and every teacher, that is, suppose this is the group of, suppose E1, how we are going to describe this? Like this, E1, E2, right, En. So here we are going to describe these entities, like these are entities, entity set. So here this is the teacher, all teachers, right, and your all students. These are the entities, E1, E2, each and everything. Now E1, E2, small E1, E2 and your En. This is the relationship set. So what we are telling here, that each and every entity, this relationship, whatever relationship is the subset of this. Means whatever, this will have the relationship of teaching, right? So whenever you are getting any relationship, that will be teaching, and obviously the entity set will be a teacher and a student. This is what is described here. So you have to see that kind of relationship, that each and every relationship, when you are talking about any relationship, that will be the subset of your particular entity set. The entity set is the basically main thing here. Okay, now next is your okay, again your relationship will be shown by this symbol. Now your attributes. Now there are different kind of attributes, not only one kind of attribute. Attributes are of different kinds, right? So first of all, for each attribute there is a set of permitted values. Permitted values means for each and every attribute there are set of permitted values. What are those permitted values? See, when we are talking about a particular attribute, right? So here I am talking about, suppose this is my student. Okay, student is having some roll number, some phone number. So when he is having some phone number, some address. Now here are some permitted values, right? What are those permitted values? Suppose here permitted values means my phone number. Now when I am talking about a phone number, there I am talking about a particular permitted values. What? I can allow up to 2 phone numbers. This is my permitted value. In attributes you can have a permitted value. For address you can have 2 kinds of address. Here some address, for address 2 kinds of address will be there. One is your correspondence address, right, where you are living now. I can do any kind of interaction, any kind of communication now. And your permanent address. So this is the permitted value. There can be 2 kinds of addresses. So a permitted value is there. So here you can see for each attribute there is a set of permitted values called the domain or value set of that attribute. That is the domain or value set of your attribute. That is the value set. You can have 2 kinds of phone numbers. You can have 2 kinds of addresses. You can have in name permitted values up to three names. The first name, middle name and your last name. So in everything you are having a permitted value. Phone number you cannot give 4 phone numbers or 5 phone. No, 2 phone numbers are my permitted value. So your domain range is up to 2 phone numbers. Again, some permitted value for your addresses. Suppose 2 addresses. One is your correspondence address and the other one is your permanent address. So again, this is your particular value, your particular domain which we are talking about. Again, if something, the roll number should be 1, that is unique, since roll number cannot be more than 2 or 3, or it cannot be more than 1. Roll number is the primary key, that is your basic thing which is making you distinguishable from others. So it is unique, that is it is 1 in number. But other attributes, the employee ID of a teacher can be 1, but again there can be more than 1 subjects which he is going to teach. He can teach 1 subject or maybe more than 1 subject. So again, some permitted value is there. So in any attribute you cannot give more than, you cannot have that unlimited values you cannot give. So there is a permitted value for any attribute. That permitted value is called the domain or value set of that attribute. Again, attribute is described by this sign, oval sign. Whenever you are going to write the attribute of any entity, you have to maintain this particular sign, right? Now there are types of attributes. Now different kinds of attributes are there. You know till now you know what attributes are, the properties of the entities, and they are unique. They are unique set of attributes. And second thing is, attributes is having some permitted values which is called the domain set or domain value, or the value set of your attribute. Up to that particular permitted value only you can give the number of attributes. Okay, now here for each and every attribute, not the number of attributes, for each and every attribute there is a permitted value. Now types of attributes. First is simple and composite attribute. Some attributes are simple, they cannot be derived, they are simple in nature, and some are composite, that they are mixed up. They are made from some mixing up of some attribute. We are getting the particular value. Single value attributes means the single value, you can give only one value, and the multi-valued. There can be multiple values of your attribute. And the derived attributes. What is the derived attribute? You can derive that attribute from a particular attribute, right? Now let's see one by one what are the different kinds of attributes. So basically there are 5 kinds of attributes, okay, and one kind of attribute is different, which I will show you. So first one is your simple attribute. Your simple attribute, right? What is simple attribute? From the name you can understand it is simple. It doesn't have any kind of other derivations or other kind of complications. Only simple. These are attributes that cannot be subdivided into groups. Okay. So those attributes which cannot be divided into groups, which cannot be divided or which cannot be done any kind, they are just unique, right? So these kind of attributes are called the simple, only simple attributes, right? Now what is that simple attribute? It can be your roll number. Then why your roll number? It is unique. Your roll number, suppose the roll number of student can be 0, 1, or in some examinations you can see the roll numbers like this kind of roll numbers are given, right? So this can be many in number, right? In examinations when you are going to give some other examinations, right, like your NET or your engineering examination, there the roll number is much bigger in number, you can see there. But when you're in your class roll number, that is 1, 2. When your university roll number, that is all. But you can see that is simple in character. That is, it is not derived. It doesn't have any kind of derivation. It is a simple number which is given to you, which uniquely identifies you, right? So here no any kind of complications are not there. Any kind of derivations are not there. Any kind of composition is not there. Only simple numbers. Simple numbers are given to you, which uniquely identifies you. Again, some employee ID can be there also. So this employee ID also it is unique. This can be E001. Okay. This can be EMP001. Anything. So again, what these are? These are just numbers. These are simple. They cannot be broken. They cannot be subdivided. You cannot divide these things. You cannot break these things. You cannot do any kind of changes. These are simple numbers which are uniquely just distinguishing one person from another, right? So these are unique in nature. No any complications are there. No any composition are there in these numbers. So these are known as simple attribute. Plain attributes, only simple numbers, simple attributes. No, not only simple numbers, only simple things which cannot be divided. They cannot be divided. You cannot divide these things, right? So these are my simple attributes. Done. Now next is my composite attribute. Next is composite attribute. From the name itself, you can see here that some kind of composition is done here. That is your some kind of mixing is done here. In composite attributes, some kind of mix up is done here, right? These are those attributes that can be divided into subparts, that is other attributes. Those attributes which can be divided, undivided attributes, that are my simple attributes. Those attributes which can be divided, further you can divide those attributes. What kind of attributes? First of all, take the example of your name. Then name can be divided. How they can be divided? You can know from this thing how the name can be divided. Write on your comment section. Okay. So first is your first name, right? Next is your middle name, and last is your surname or last name. So this is what I am dividing the attribute. Main attribute is what? My name. But when I am dividing the name, the name of my particular attribute, when I'm dividing that name, it can be first name, it can be middle name, and your surname or your last name. Again, for many people from different origins, they have more than three also. Their names are being parts of four names also. Some are having five names also. So if some are making their names with their girls are having their particular surnames. Okay, so they are using the some parental surname as well as their husband name. So these are the basically divisions which have been done. So in the name, we are basically having this characteristic, that is first name, middle name, and last name. Each and everywhere, if you are going to give up, you are going to make a form fill up, or you are going to write anything in the examination hall, also you will see their first name, last name, middle name, and last name is basically this is done. Again, more than these divisions can be more than 3 also, but this is the thing. What is the main idea is that the name can be broken into these 3. Name is a basic attribute which we are using in each and everything. Student name, the teacher name, the staff name, each and every place, or the employee name. But the name can be divided into these 3 groups also. So it had been divided, right? So you can see that the composition of these 3 things. What is that? First name, middle name, and your surname. These are giving you this particular name attribute. So these are also attributes. If you are taking name, then these are also attributes. So my name is broken into these 3 attributes, subparts or other attributes. So these are my subparts. These are what? Subparts or other attributes. This can be other attributes. Okay, so this is what is there in your composition. And again, other thing is there also in the composite attributes when you're talking about the composite attributes. So basically, attribute which can be broken into subparts or other attributes, that is called your composite attribute, right? Now again, something is there present there which is different from this composite attribute within this composite attribute. What is that? Let's see. Suppose we are taking, again let's take a example, new example of again a other composite attribute. What is that example? That is your address. Address is also a composite attribute. Okay, this address, how it is a composite attribute? Like this. See, your address are having street name, right? Now, or first of your street number, then street, your city. Oh, sorry. First of all, your street, then your city, then your state, and your pin code, right? So this is the how we are going to break, or how we are going to divide the address attribute into 4 categories. I have broken that one. First is your street, which street you are living in, right? Next, the city, the state, and your pin code. So address is not a single attribute. Address is a composite attribute. When you are composing these all things, then you can tell a person a particular address. You cannot tell a particular person your address by your state or by your particular whatever city you are staying. You have to tell the whole details. What is your particular pin code, what is your particular state, what is your particular city, your particular street in which you are living. Also there can be your particular building number can also be there, right? Your building number or name, whatever is there. So this is the thing, how the composition is done. These all things when in the composition, they will give you the particular address. So address, when we are writing as an attribute, we are just writing an address. But address is not a simple attribute. It is also a composite attribute. Now, next what I am talking about is from these composite attributes, these are different attributes from address is broken into this. So these are my composite attributes. Address is a composite attribute. Again, you can see when I am talking about the street, street is again having some different attributes, right? How? There can be, here there can be your street name, your street number, or the road name, or your building name or building. Here you can write here the building name or building number. So these are what they are called. They are called as the component. Okay, component attributes. So this is the composite attribute which can be broken into different attributes or different parts, and when from these parts, if some attribute that can be broken again into some attributes or some parts, that particular thing is known as component attribute. This is your composite attribute, that which is having some subparts. Again from those subparts, if again some subparts are coming, then that particular attribute is called as component attribute. Right? Here you can see the example from address, street name, your city name, your state name, and your pin code. But street name is again broken down into the street, just a street and street name, number, and your building number or your building name. So again it is also having some subdivisions. So from this you can understand that street is a component attribute, address is your composite attribute, and street is your component attribute. Done. Now next is the single valued attribute. Now we are talking about a single valued attribute, right? So single valued attribute, from the name you can understand it will have a single value. So again it is the student ID or roll number that can have a single value, that 01 or 02 or A001 or B001, etc, etc. So it can have only a single value. Your roll number can have a single value, but student ID, why it is uniquely distinguishing you from other students, so it is having a single value. Again if your roll number is there, it is also having a single value. There cannot be more than one values. One person's date of birth is also having a single value. No, a date of birth is again, it is coming in derived attribute, right? So single value, date of birth is not a single, it is coming from a derived. Single value, yes, it's a single one, that a person can have only one date of birth, but date of birth is a derived attribute also. How? I will show you. Now see, so basically this is what is there. The student ID or your roll number, it is only having a single value, so it is a single valued attribute. Now again second thing is your fourth one is your multi valued attribute, an attribute which will be having multiple values. For example, so only a single value is possible for single value. Now multiple values are possible for such attributes. Suppose my phone number, it is having multiple values. First phone number, second phone number, you can have number of phone numbers. So maybe 4 or 5 phone numbers. But basically again some possible some ranges given there for attributes. So permitted value is there. So basically we are taking as 2 phone numbers. So there can be a person can have more than one phone number. There can be 2, 3, 4. So it is what is called as multi-valued. Again next example, what can it be? It can be your email ID, right? A person can have more than one email ID. Email ID 1, email ID 2. So this is one is the first one, and this one is the optional. Again phone number also we say as the current phone number, your main phone number, and your optional phone number. So this is what is happening in the multi-valued. Multi-valued means more than one value can be there in your particular attributes. Those attributes which are having more than one numbers are called multi-valued. Now derived attributes, what I was talking about, okay, that is the main thing, that is your derived attributes, right? What are derived attributes? Like our age. the value for this attribute can be derived from the value of other related attributes or entities. That this can be derived from other attributes or other entities. How? So age, your age. Age can be derived from your date of birth. Then if you have to find this age, right, you have to depend upon this DOB, which is a single valued attribute. Again, one date of birth, which I was talking about. But age is your derived attribute. Now you are getting from your single valued attribute, you are getting a derived attribute. How? When you are talking about the age of a person, for suppose you are talking about a student and you are talking about the age of this particular student. How you will get this age? This particular age is an attribute here, but when we are talking about this age, it will be derived. You cannot write the age from when it is given in the student profile, but they are giving the date of birth. They are not giving any kind of age. You have to calculate that age. So you are getting this particular attribute from this DOB, that is your date of birth. Then so if someone is giving 01/01/1990, so you will derive, this is the date of birth. You will derive that yes, some person's age is 33 years or his age is this one. So up to a particular date, a certain date, you have to calculate this. To this 2024 or 2023 or 2022, up to this particular. So his current age or the age needed at a particular date, that is derived from a particular date of birth. The basic thing is this date of birth, his main date of birth. So date of birth, here it will derive your age. You can get the age of a person from the date of birth. So this is what is your particular attribute. Okay, so this is your derived attribute. So derived attribute is there where you are deriving a particular attribute from another attribute or maybe from another entity also. So this is what is there in your derived attribute. So basically here you are getting 6 kinds of attributes. First one is your simple one, your roll number. Second is your composite attribute, that can be your name. Again, if you are telling about your component attribute, you can have the address, where street, city, etc, etc. Street can be also, it can be again broken down into some attributes. So it is a component attribute. Single valued attribute, one value, that is your roll number or your student ID. Again, multiple values, phone number, your email ID, and the last one is the derived attribute, the main and important thing of your attribute, that is your derived attribute, where you are getting the example of your age, which you are getting from your date of birth. Again, your date of birth is a single valued attribute, but you are the age is being derived from that particular attribute. Okay, so this is basically the whole scenario of your ERD, that is your entity. Again, some other things are there also, which I will tell you in the next class about relationships, type of relationships, one-to-one, one-to-many, other things are there also. But till this particular thing, your 3 schema architecture of database and your entity relationship model. If you have any kind of confusion, any kind of query, you can ask me in your comment section. And if you like my channel, then please like, subscribe and share it with your friends or family members, so that they can also get these classes and have some they can also be benefited from this. Okay, till then, take care and goodbye.